What was that? Who knows what is going on? Everybody, this is David Del Rosario here for the DDR podcast. Welcome everyone to episode 4. Oh, what do you need? Oh, what do you want more? That's right. Glad to have you here, everybody. Welcome back. Glad that everyone is tuning in, listening, watching, whatever you're doing. If you're joining me, I love you. I'm going to be real with you. Let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. Big ups, shout out to the green room in the building, Anne-Marie Lee. I'm going to go ahead and accept that response as her being presente. Are you presente? She's having way too much fun with that new iPad. Oh man, we're having fun here. We're doing it up. Welcome to the DDR podcast. Glad you're here with us. Just to let you know, we do stand up and sketch and all different types of comedy here. You can follow Anne-Marie over at Anne-Marie Lee Comedy and also myself at David Funny Stuff. So let's go ahead and fire things off as a dump truck is loading in a gigantic lump of trash right next to the podcast studio today. But nothing wrong with that. Just to let you know, the merch, boom, check it out. Amazing. Polar Bear Titties already on sale. Had some premiered over at the Open Stage Club show. Awesome show. Had a black... What is happening outside? I think that there is 2 robots that are fighting outside right now, to be honest with you. Like, that's basically what's happening, honestly. And to be real with you,
I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.
There's robots fighting outside my house. That's basically what's happening. Wow. I think that the Transformers have completely finished their battle. So where was I? Oh yeah, you can get the Polar Bear Titties. Just follow me at David Funny Stuff. DM me so you can go ahead and get your pair of shirts. That just blew my mind right now. That's just like so many different things happening right now. But yeah, you could follow us on the social media and purchase some of those Polar Bear Titties. If you know my stand-up, you know what I'm talking about. Lots of shows coming down the pike. Lots of shows happening. I have Casa Torres coming up with Anne-Marie Lee, hosted by Victor Vasquez. So shout out to Victor. Also, I have Gotham Comedy Club on the 28th of May as well, so make sure you get your tickets for either one of those shows if you're on the West Coast or if you're on the East Coast, so make sure you go ahead and cop them ticks, because that's how it be. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of certain things that I want to talk about. Isn't that right, Green Room? That's all I need, yeah. That's all I need. That's all I need to continue on with episode 4. Hand gestures, hand flails. Okay, so trailers out the gate. Let's start with that. HBO Game of Thrones is ending very, very soon. So HBO needs some sort of a program to fill in the void that is Game of Thrones. Here's the deal. There is a gigantic cult following behind this very, very popular graphic novel from the 80s called The Watchmen. And if you have read the book, it's actually a really, really good take on the superhero vigilanteism in the 1980s. It's actually a really, really interesting book, and it's an interesting approach to the superhero genre, especially with all this like DC, Marvel, pandemonium that's been happening with all of that kind of stuff. This is a very HBO, very like real grounded approach to this whole follow-up of that novel from the 80s, and it's really, really good, and I'm looking forward to it. I saw the teaser for it, and apparently it's a lot to do with a future where people are not trying to be responsible or accountable for certain kinds of vigilantism, and police officers are also worried that these other potential threats regarding people know who they are in real life and kill their families, so they have to hide their face. So basically a lot of people are masked. There's certain individuals that this takes place apparently, I think, after the events of the graphic novel. So you actually probably still have time to go pick up a copy of the Watchmen book, read it, and you can knock that out in like a week. And it's just a really cool, interesting comic book, and it's a story that takes place in the 80s, and there's a lot of cool characters in there, and I personally really enjoyed it. They also made a movie about it. The same guy that made 300 and Justice League, Zack Snyder, did a version of Watchmen. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good, but I think that this is going to be a comparable follow-up to the book if you have read it. So that's a pretty interesting thing that HBO is doing post Game of Thrones era. So that's the shebang on The Watchmen, a series that's coming in the fall. Another trailer that I personally really enjoyed that came out last week, since we're talking about things that happened in weeks past, is the It Chapter 2 trailer. Oh, man. Oh, Sonny boy. Oh, man. This is Georgie. Oh, man. Like, that's just, it's a really interesting. I thought that the movie was a solid horror movie. I've seen a lot of good horror movies that are better than it, but it was just a clean-cut horror movie. It was just meant to be scary. There wasn't anything that was supposed to be more than what it is, and it was, in my opinion, way, way better than the 1980s version, which I never saw because I just saw clips of it, and I was like, oh man, this didn't age well. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that I personally enjoyed about the last one, is that what the 80s one failed on, this current remake that Chapter 1 was a lot better. So this second one, they got that creepy old lady, man. Oh, dude, with the face, with the... So, what are you doing? Like, it was like, dude, what the hell? Like, that was so weird and creepy, and the way that they're going to go ahead and tie everything to the back end of the story. There's a lot of weird shit that happens in the book that I don't know if they're going to basically do an exact version of what the 80s thing did as well. So it's going to be... It was in the 90s. Correction. Thank you so much, Green Room, for the three-point shooter. Poof! That's right. It's actually a 90s remake, if I'm not mistaken. Just going to go ahead and, let me know in the comment threads exactly what year it was, or if you feel that maybe you saw a different version, like a Mandela effect situation where, who knows, we'll get crazy with it. Nevertheless, It Chapter 2, gonna go watch it. Looking forward to it. And let me tell you, as scary as that first It movie was, got me a little bit tense. So you know what I got to do? I got to bust out the bubbles, baby. Man, because that clown, that clown's crazy. Oh, and red. Honorary red. What are the odds, huh? Yeah. You gotta love it. Man, I saw, you know what? I actually, with Am, we saw Oculus. Ooh. Wasn't that movie so good? Man. And shout out to Chris Stuckman, okay? Chris Stuckman's a freaking amazing YouTube movie reviewer, and he's actually in film school right now. I don't know if he's in film school or he's like trying to be a director, like big time, like he's trying to direct movies and stuff like that, but he does a lot of movie reviews. And man, Chris, dude, you give a lot of good reviews. And I saw Oculus and I was just like, whoa, good call, man. Like, it was actually a really good, scary movie. And we were looking at it because, didn't we see the whole Paranormal saga? It was like 6 movies: Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 2, Paranormal Activity 3, Paranormal Activity 4, the Lost Ones, and then the Chosen Ones, and then Paranormal Activity 4, and then Paranormal Activity 5 was the chosen ones, and then Paranormal Activity 6 was, I think it was the Ghost Dimension, I think is what it was. And shout out to the San Jose Improv that let us watch a continuation of that movie in the actual main room theater display. And it was like fantastic because it was just Am and I early in the afternoon, and management was just like, hey, you guys want to watch the movie on the projector inside of the theater? And I was just like, oh, let's do it. So we did it. So it was fantastic. So those movies were pretty dope. That place is haunted. Yes, it is. Yeah. From what I had heard, worked with Michael Q out there. Shout out to Michael Q for that one. But it was pretty insane because he's like walking up the stairs, and I think he was either management or him. Like as we're walking up the stairs, like, yeah, this place is haunted. Like, yeah, that was probably Michael that told me like that. But yeah, that's what we did. And so Oculus was good. So It Chapter 2 is man, I'm ready for it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. So what else do we got going on here today? We have the Met Gala to talk about, which is it's a big, gigantic fashion museum extravaganza gala, explosion of fashion iconography, and they have a theme. The theme I heard is camp. I don't know what camp means. Can you look up what camp is?
Note to fashion camp.
Well, yeah. What's I saw. No, absolutely not. Jared Leto was carrying his own head down the walkway or up the stairs with some elaborate. That's not camp. What? So people get beheaded in the woods? I mean, sure, but still, like Katy Perry was dressed like a chandelier. Nicki Minaj had a long flowing dress. That's the last thing you want to have in the woods is a long flowing dress that you're gonna have 27 people to carry down the pond or the creek if you're fishing for salmon. That's the last thing you want. Cardi B's dress looked crazy, right? How many people did it take to carry her dress? Was it 27 people just to make it, right? It took like 35 different people to make that 2,000 hours of knitting. A lot of knitting what involved. A lot of knitting went involved into the making of Cardi B's extravagant Met Gala accoutrement. You would think camp is like the woods, right? I wouldn't get camp as like an extravagant. Just say exaggerated or just campy. Campy's is it opposite? Is it supposed to be opposite? I don't know. Whatever. It was kind of crazy and kooky and out there. There were some outfits that I was like, "Well, is this supposed to be a thing?" Like, I'm not hating on any of the outfits or anything like that, or even the people that attended, but I don't get the word camp as something that's extravagant. I think even campy, when you talk about it in movie terms, it's like very like closed in and like tightened in, not like loose and you just extravagant, and you would think it's like very confined when you think of the word campy, and you keep it simple. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll admit it if I'm wrong.
Somewhat difficult to define. It includes elements of irony, humor, parody.
So they just pulled a phrase out of their ass and made it something else. It's like, listen, dress however the fuck you want. This is the word that we're gonna call it, and it's gonna mean whatever you want it to mean. All right, so you could then why call the theme camp? Why don't you just call it canary, or why don't you just call it a vegetable like celery? You could have called it the Celery Met Gala, and have people dress up in different variations of green or light green, or have somebody walk in as a piece of celery. What else do we got going on in this piece? So I had a couple shows in the falls over at Comedy Inn, and I will wrap it up on this note because we were there for a few days. Shout out to Mike Levine. He let us stay there for a little bit, so we were just vacation mode straight up. Am and I, we just kicked it. We even shot like a little funny video while we were there. It was awesome, and you could actually check it out here. It's a really cool hotel, but we're just chilling there during the daytime, and Miami daytime television is just like, once it gets past The Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal, it is an abyss of sadness with regards to like the type of daytime television that you see on there. It's like everything is about some sort of a Medicaid or Medicare, and it talks about all of the terrible side effects while it has a commercial that's got absolutely nothing to do with what you're seeing the product for. Like you have like side effects may include, and it's like a baseball commercial, some dude's like rounding the bases. Side effects may include nausea, diarrhea, suicidal thoughts. It's like, dude, what are you trying to do? Like, paint me this picture of like serene relaxation and a cure for whatever it is that it is for with a baseball scenario. Like, dude, like that's just hysterical, because it's just like, oh yeah, no, he's like, I like baseball. I mean, I don't like baseball. I've never played baseball, but you know, I get it. That's what these kinds of commercials are. There's just these awful reruns of TV shows that should not be on television. There was one thing where it was like you're rating the wedding. Do you remember that, Em? That one that was just like, I give Christine's wedding a 3 out of 10 because they didn't have napkins or cupcakes at all. It was the worst. It was just like, oh my goodness, let's just go out and do something. Eventually we were just like, okay, let's just go out. Let's get some lunch. We'll figure it out from there. But we just had to get out and not watch any kind of television at that point. So we just got productive and started doing shit. But man, daytime television, you guys got to step it up. Let's get some good, solid entertainment, because the View, you know, I love Whoopi and all that kinds of stuff, but it's just not. It doesn't get anywhere past Let's Make a Deal, Price was Right, and that's about it. Because it's just shitty commercials, and everything else is just trash until about what, maybe 6 p.m. when Wheel of Fortune hits.
They had Catfish. Catfish was good.
Oh, Catfish. Yes, Catfish. Let's go ahead and talk about Catfish for a minute, because Catfish, I did not know about Catfish. I know this TV show's been around for a very long time. I know it started off on a documentary, but yo, this was kind of crazy because I didn't know what the show was about. So it's people that build these false identities on the internet, and these two dudes are investigating it with a team of cameramen, and they're going and finding out who these people really are in conjunction with the person that is being messaged about this particular kind of relationship or chemistry that these two people have. And they go out, they look for the people, they find them, and they confront the actual person. And they're just doing detective work, finding out text messages, looking on Facebook, checking out Instagram, and breaking it down. And it's just the best kind of addictive television that you could possibly even think of, because it was like, I'd never seen this show before, and I was like, that's amazing. That's just fantastic. And I've seen some of those episodes, and it's like, wow, that takes a lot of Web of Lies, a lot of time, patience, and effort. And some of the reasons that people do it is because they're shy of who they are and all that kinds of things. But it's just like the amount of people that actually do it is staggering. Like, I don't even know how many episodes or seasons they're in, but I must say that show is pretty damn interesting. But on that note, I'm actually going to be wrapping it up for episode 4 of this podcast. Make sure that you go ahead and check out some show dates. If you want some of these polar bear titties, make sure I just got the merch ready to fire it up. So let me know if you want them. Also, make sure you follow me on social media. Shout out to the Green Room. We got Anne-Marie Lee at Anne-Marie Lee Comedy. Boop, boop. That's how it is. And you can follow me at David Funny Stuff. Make sure that you check out those show dates on the IG, the Facebook, and on social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and click the bell, and reshare this video. I love you guys. See you later. Peace out.